We should also beware of becoming proud because we're presently the special object of God's favor. We need to remember that God chose Israel so we Gentiles could enjoy salvation, end quote. That's right. That's how we got our Jewish Messiah. That's how we got the Bible. All the authors being Jewish except for Luke, which describes this wonderful plan of God to his glory. But we should be patient with the plan that God's working out. And we should make sure that we are understanding this special plan that God has for them, not being an obstacle to their salvation. The text says, for God has committed them all to disobedience that he might have mercy on all. Thomas Constable writes, quote, the conclusion of this matter is this: as everyone has been disobedient, Gentiles and Jews alike, so God will show mercy to all as well. See, we have no reason to boast. We have no reason to be haughty. What we need to do is, again, go back to asking questions. Have you repented? Have you been grafted in as a Gentile? If you're a Jew tonight that's watching who's an unbelieving Jew, will you be a natural branch that is grafted back in through the same way as the Gentile? Belief, faith, trusting in the Jewish Messiah, his death, burial, and resurrection. Have you repented? Here's another question. If you repented, then you've been grafted in. So have you? Have you repented? And have you been grafted in? To the Gentile, I would ask another question. Are you cursing the Jews? Or are you evangelizing the Jews? Here's another question. Why are you not a Christian Zionist? After all that I have laid out tonight and in the last two programs, why are you not a Christian Zionist? It's in the Bible. It's here. And we'll see next week, the fourth part, that we have people like Gary DeMar that ask, where is the super sign found in the Bible? Where is this super sign found in the Bible? Not in the New Testament. There's not a single verse in the entire New Testament that says anything about Israel becoming a nation again. Nothing prophetic in the New Testament depends on Israel becoming a nation again. If Israel becoming a nation again is such a significant sign, then why doesn't the New Testament specifically mention it? End quote. Hello, Gary. I know Gary. He spoke for some of our Worldview weekends on history years ago. Then I realized what he was all about. We're like, okay, we're done with that. Here's my question for you, Gary. Have you not read Romans 11? Romans 11, verse 1. I say then, the Apostle Paul writes, God has not rejected his people, has he? And then he answers it. May it never be. You're looking for a sign found in the Bible, a sign in the New Testament? Hey, Gary, pick up your Bible. Read Romans chapter 11. And I want to also address this issue of, well, the Jews in Israel and the Middle East are not the Jews of the Bible. Are you trying to tell me they don't have the right DNA? Is this the Khazar theory? Let's deal with that next week. What is the Khazar theory and when did it start gaining popularity to the benefit, of course, of the Islamist and the replacement theologian? Let's pick that up next week on part 4, Why I'm a Christian Zionist. If you appreciate our program and what we do here, thank you for your support. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Again, we are a listener-supported network. It's vital that we have your support. So please consider going now to worldviewfoundation.com and making a contribution of any size. You'll also find our mailing address there if you prefer to support us through the mail. We'll finish this series, and I'm going to turn it into a book. Make it available. And if you're a Vault member, you will not have to buy it. It'll be a PDF automatically as a member of the Vault at worldviewtube.com/vault, along with all my other books that are there. You don't have to buy them. They're available as a PDF at worldviewtube.com/vault. But we look forward to turning this one into a book as well when I finish up, I think, next week with part 4, Why I'm a Christian Zionist. So next time, I'm Brandon House. Thanks for watching. Take care.
episode of Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for joining me on this Monday, December 8th. I appreciate you being here. We are live on worldviewtube.com. Worldviewtube app, if you don't have it, it is for free, easy to use, very helpful. Just go to your app store, look up Worldviewtube, all one word. Install it, activate or turn on your notification, and trust me, you can thank me later. We're also live on WorldviewTube, Rumble, and X. We are live on X, American News on X, and on my platforms on Facebook, YouTube, and Substack. As always, I invite you to join me in the comments sections. I will glance at them, I will read them, I will answer questions, I will read your comments or your concerns as we get through the show today. And there are a few topics I like to get into, especially the situation in Africa. But before we do that, probably I'm going to take the first segment to, first of all, thank everybody. And I will start the shout outs in a minute. But before anything else, thank you, Lord. He did it. He got me to 42. I can sit here officially today and say I am 42 years old and still kicking. And we all know I wouldn't be here without him. With everything that I had to face, if it wasn't for him, his will, his love, his wisdom, and his protection, I would not make it here. So thank you, Lord. After that, of course, thanks to every single one of you for being here for 10 years now. We've been doing this fight together. Your support, your words of encouragement, your love, your messages, your donations, your pushes at times, tough love at times, has got me today to this point, and I am very grateful for every single one of you. Now, narrowing it down into the birthday topic, a special thanks to Phil, Joyce, Krissa, Linda, Sean, and Grace. Thank you so much. I have received your gifts. Thank you for picking them from my Amazon wish list mainly. Those are all very necessary stuff I normally need to get my art, which is my escape from the madness of the mission. So thank you so much to all of you. And then let's go over, I actually have a cheat sheet here. A special thanks to Dawn. Hedia John, thank you. Melanie, Stephanie, Chris, what do I have here? Rebecca, Patricia, Roger, Maritza, and everybody else who sent in their gifts, their birthday gifts through my PayPal poll as a cash donation. I greatly appreciate it. You all made my day very, very delightful. And I figured, I normally try not to do this, especially on my show, because when I'm on other people's show, they ask me about it. But I figured, since I am the birthday girl, I guess I picked the topic, right? So I want to tell you a few stories that some of you might have heard of before on my other shows or on my Substack or on my writing for other platforms, but I have not said them much or repeated them much. But this morning, okay, I need to go back to this morning. This morning I woke up about 10 minutes late, and trust me, it was a Monday. And as I said last week to all of you, I'm not taking my birthday off. I'm working, and I will do my show. Last night I decided not to do a show today, but then this morning I was like, no, wait, I promised everybody to do a show on my birthday, so I have to do a show. Though we had a very long broadcasting last week. By the way, just a reminder, we had a full broadcasting day on Thursday and Friday on WorldviewTube. For those of you who might have missed it, it is available. You can go back and watch it. And I encourage you to watch it. It was amazing. I was here either on air with Brandon and guests or just behind the scene green room listening, and it was fascinating. Some of the topics were, wow, mind-blowing. So go back and catch them as you can. They're going to be there, pretty much in the archive of worldviewtube.com. And of course, it was a WorldviewTube international webinar. I called it the big wrap-up of 2025. But also the other purpose of it was the fundraising for end of the year giving or share-a-thon of worldviewfoundation.com. Your donations will still be very much appreciated. we did great those 2 days. But those of you who missed that, who weren't there, worldviewfoundation.com. Go over there. You can make a tax-deductible donation. Support the network that is supporting all of us, including myself, giving us a voice. And we're basically getting our shows out there with no cost to us. At least I can speak for myself. So worldviewfoundation.com is until the end of the year. Go ahead and make a donation and support the network. But I was pretty much with Brannon long hours on Thursday and then Friday. And then Saturday I had much going on yesterday. Anyways, bottom line, last night I'm like, I think I'm out of things to say. Can't believe that, me ever out of things to say. So I'm not going to do a show. But then this morning I woke up, and of course my phone is bombarded with such lovely birthday messages on Facebook, on Substack, on emails, private text messages, voicemails. And as I was reading through some of them, and I will, by the way, I will answer every single one of you. You know I do that every year. Just give me until later tonight to get to answer to all your messages. As I was reading through some of that, it clicked. I'm like, you know what? I will do a show. I will do a show, even if it's just one segment. So I can sit here and tell you that when you send me such kind and encouraging messages on my birthday, it brings back so many of the good memories of last 10 years of my life. Of course, you're all, familiar with the childhood stories, some good, some bad, some wonderful, especially those with grandma, some terrifying. But since I started getting involved with this mission, Freedom, America, and later on in 2017, coming to know our Lord and Savior, the mission just stepped up on its own. It found a meaning. So this last 10 years has been the most beautiful years of my life. It has been. Though long days, long hours, bounties, and, security and all that. But I can sit here today and say, yes, the last 10 years of my life has been the most delightful, enlightening, loving years of my life. Through a lot of, even before I was saved, so many of you loved me so unconditionally. You kept at it repeatedly, reminding me of my values, my worth, that I can't help but to think if it wasn't for many of you doing that, I know I would find God. I know he wouldn't give up on me, but I think I got there a lot faster because of you. And the second year, meaning 9 years ago, as my name was getting out and my page was growing and all of that, few of you that I won't name, but few of you went ahead and put together a kind of a surprise online happy birthday day for me. And the day it was posted, which was a week before my actual birthday, a week before December 8th, I got a tag on Facebook. I look, and the original post was posted. The leader of this idea was Joyce, that many of you know her as my mama bear. She posted the original post, and there was a tag. And I do remember, to this day, I do remember that post. I have a screenshot of that post, but I do remember looking at that post and keep thinking, why? Why? Who am I? Or why do they even care? Let alone, wow, look, they remembered. It's my birthday. So, and then by end of that night, I released my very first personal video, Against the Wall. Some of you still remember that. And it was so overwhelming to know how many of you cared. And it was the wording. Yes, for me, it was a big deal. Oh, it's my birthday and so many people are caring about it. But the wording of many of you, even thanking God for this day that he gave me life. And I can literally say all the sentences that hit me hard that day, not in a bad way, in a good way, of they are right. And again, this was when I wasn't saved. And it was like, look, there are people, strangers. At that point, it's only a year since I'm a public figure, so we're still very much strangers, right? There are strangers who appreciate and celebrate my birthday, not the way I look at it, not because I'm going to have a cake, though I never do cakes on my birthday. I hate that. But, get birthday cards and birthday gifts. They're celebrating my birthday because they see something in my existence. The day that I disregarded most of my life thinking big deal, or there were times where I said, I hate my birthday because that's the day my misery started. Well, you guys changed that for me. 9 years ago, many of you made me realize my misery didn't start that day. No, my mission started that day. God's plan for one of his children started on December 8th, 1983. So I wanted to go there today. I wanted to say, after 9 years, you're still all there. Like, it is amazing when I wake up on December, I'm like, wow, look at all those messages and cards and the heart emojis. But 9 years ago, you guys changed my own mind about my birthday. And for that, I'm grateful. And I'm very excited on my birthdays now. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm still way more excited on my American birthday, but I have learned to be excited and love my birthday. And on that note, I made good timing. I was able to squeeze all of that emotional notes without crying or laughing hysterically, and now going over time on my first segment. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this ad break, and I will make sure to check your comments before we dive into the topic of today. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Would you like to gain access to over 20 years of my radio shows, TV shows, my books? I've written 15 books, and most of those books are ebooks now. And we have conference DVDs, conferences where we filmed our conferences at the Ozarks, literally starting 20 years ago. It's all available in our archived vault. All you have to do is go to worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and for a reasonable monthly fee, you gain access to over 20 years of Christian worldview programming, news, information, books, documentaries, and a powerful search engine. And folks, it's a great way not only to educate yourself, equip yourself, but it's a big way that you can help fund our continuation as a broadcast network. Please check it out. worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and help us continue pushing out a Christian worldview.
Well, welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now. And thank you for staying through that long ranting on of an emotional state of mind. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Blair, Tressa, Dawn. Thank you for the birthday wishes. And, Colin, happy belated birthday. Penny the 6th was your birthday. Yes, Tammy, I can say that you have been one of the greatest supporters of mine on Facebook, especially for a good 8 years. And I am grateful. Yes, okay. My birthday poll will stay up until tomorrow night. So yes, I have one comment asking if it's closed. No, it's going to be up until tomorrow night. So you can just go to my website and find the link through there. Okay, let's dive in. Yesterday, I very briefly put a post up, breaking news, and then today I did a Substack on it. You can find it on, it's the top Substack, my Substack page, about another falling piece or domino falling in Africa. Saturday late night our time, a video came out. The one I actually, it is embedded inside the Substack. You can find it there, but I saw the video through Iranian sources, and the video, you'll see that it has a Farsi subtitle on it. But a video came out of a bunch of military members from Benin announcing that a military coup has taken place and they have taken power. I posted that. Now, I understand on the Substack I also mentioned that possibly I have had comments. Someone was like, in 71 years of my life, I've never even heard of this country. That is very reasonable. That is not unusual. I figured I should write about it specifically because Benin is not, well, a lot of Africa is not talked about in America. We have some of the countries we talk about constantly, Nigeria and Sudan, because it's just impossible not to talk about them. But the other ones we don't really talk about as much. They're not really relevant when it comes to our policies and our agendas. And when I say I should say our governments. There isn't much there to talk about. Benin is definitely one of those. Benin is a very small country in Africa with, I think, I don't know, between 12 and 14 million population. So not the biggest country. However, plays a big role. As I broke it down on my Substack, the biggest, now until about 2 months ago or so, Benin was considered this is important, the last stable country in the region. The other countries around in the region, one way or another, were either civil war or the jihadists take over, or genocide happening, but Benin was pretty stable. I started looking at Benin, keeping eye on it since 2023. A reason was, the neighboring countries of Benin, one of them collapsed in 2019. It started with a military coup and then lost most of its power to Islamist jihadists. And then 2023, the other neighboring country, a military coup. Actually, that one, I think there were 2 military coups back to back, and then fall into hands of Islamist jihadists. For me, it's a pattern. It's a pattern I've been watching. I knew sooner or later Benin's going to be taken over. I just didn't know when. It happened over the weekend. Benin. Now we're at this stage of military coup. However, as I said, 270 some miles of shared border of Benin and the 2 countries that are pretty much the fronts for Al-Qaeda linked and ISIS linked jihadists. It doesn't take a genius. It's pretty clear. The pattern is the military coup. Now the soldiers on that video, of course, go claiming that the president of Benin failed and he didn't do a good job, and the security, he failed to keep the nation secure. Partially, yes. I'm not defending the guy. It's not like I know his biography. However, since he came to power, he did make some economic growth for the country. He was not corrupt. He's not. You don't find his name anywhere on the list of corrupt African government presidents or leaders who's taking billions for himself and starving his people. So you put all of that together, he was facing a battle, external battle, from 2 neighboring countries towards Al-Qaeda link and ISIS link soldiers. So it is reasonable to not necessarily have the safest country. However, this is an excuse. My point of the Substack, my point of talking about it today is, as you know, I love to spot patterns and then follow the pattern and then put it together as a puzzle and bring it to you. This was the last piece of puzzle. That area, within the next 6 to 8 months, it's going to be fully conquered. Fully Islamic jihadist front. Now, I named some of the countries who, again, Americans may not know about because that's not being talked about, especially because some of the countries I'm about to drop are great allies, so we're not going to talk about them. But Russia has some influence in that area of the region. Iran definitely have some serious influence there. Well, they use that area for their own influence. You have Turkey, our great ally, with the great leader Erdogan, and Qatar, our other greatest ally. They also, you find their footprint all over that area. And now with Benin's government toppled and the military coup completed and a military in charge of the country, I will literally almost guarantee you within the next 60 days, maximum 90 days, I will track this. As you know, I'm not going to just report on it today and move on, but I will bring you the receipt for footprints of Qatar, Iran, Turkey, all over Benin now. Now, there was a gap that closed. The entire strip is now Islamist movement. And it's going to keep on spreading. Why do we care? Well, you know, I care about the spread of Islam everywhere. But we care because the very first thing where probably I was actually, when I was seeing some of your comments of where is that, I've never heard of it, I said, soon you'll hear about it. Though we don't hear about Benin in our news or from our government much, soon you will. You know what is the first thing that's going to happen? With this event, we're going to start facing a major immigration crisis. People coming from Benin seeking asylum. Why? Because it's going to be a war zone soon. It's going to be a battle between the military of Benin versus the either Al-Qaeda link or ISIS or both linked militia in the country. Where we always face the flood when these kind of coups happen. So that is number one why we should care. Most likely it's going to take years for our administration to put a ban on Benin or even acknowledge a danger or an issue with Benin. Until then, some of them are going to be legit people, genuine people who are running from what's happening to their small country, but not all of them. So here we go again with another brand new African country touched by military coup. Let's just say that is what it is, though it is not. And then shortly after, invasion of Islamists. And we're going to have to figure out a way to save them. Not the country, the people who seek asylum here. That's what I'm saying. I should probably be more careful of how I pick my words. That's number one problem. Number two, most of you have watched my show and read my Substack long enough to know that the end game is global jihad. Right? Global caliphate. So every inch of this earth that is conquered by Islamists, it's getting them closer to our backyard. It could be Africa, it could be Asia, it could be Europe, it doesn't matter. When they're done with one area, guess what? They regroup, they concentrate on the next area. And that's what's going to happen. Gradually, and again, even on a humanitarian level, if you think about it, here's what's going to happen. Again, I broke all of it down with more details on my Substack. What's going to happen is a lot of areas of Benin that was just farmland, it's going to start turning into bloodbath. Farmers and their families, they're going to have to escape. They're going to have to abandon their farms, their homes, and gradually they're going to go from the farmland into the villages, from the villages into the capital, and it's done. Again, it is important, though humanitarian side of things says, I am praying for people of Benin because I know what they're about to face. But I'm not sure if I'm happy that we're going to have to open the gates and allow even more people to come in that we have no way. And here's the thing, military coup, anywhere, it doesn't matter. Wherever, when a military coup happens, the very first thing that happens to the country that just faced a coup is there won't be any diplomatic relations. There won't be any alliance. Like, let's say someone from Benin comes knocking at our door to seek asylum. Who are we going to contact to get a background check or identity confirmation? The military? This is why military coups are pretty dangerous. This is why when military coup happens, wherever it is, the tiny country known as Benin or Iran of 72 or 69 or 53, we need to pay attention. By we, again, most importantly, our government, but I have a feeling that's not going to happen, so I have to bring it to you, that keep an eye on it. Military coups become dangerous, not just for its own people, but for those countries that are going to become the new host of the war-torn zone of poor people coming to. Though a lot of it's historically, you barely find a military coup that actually delivered the promise of stability, because that's military coup, right? They offer stability. Now, some of them under Erdogan, for example, are coordinated by the government. So that's different. But these kind of military coups, like the one that just happened in Benin, these tend to destabilize the nation even more. And again, I want to be very clear, Benin was not destabilized. It was, as I said, it was the last. Our country, a lot of Western countries, considered it as the last stable country in the nation. Now from here is downhill. It's just going to fall apart. As I said, all the jihadists from both sides are going to come in. They're going to start fighting the military or not. In Niger, they didn't. When the military coup of Niger happened, within a couple of months, the military is like, okay, they split the countries. They're like, okay, you jihadists, here's your portion, here's our portion. They literally split their country. Not by a border, by authority. They took certain parts of Niger, and then we all, that you might have heard of situations in Niger. I don't know, honestly. I look at these things so much that I don't know if I know too much about it or you also know as much about it. Point is, I should take a look at my clock. I'm just talking without paying attention. Yes, point is, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. It's time for our second ad break.
Well, hello everybody, it's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com.
My allergies are.
I gotta go finish this painting, but I'm sure, or at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfstudio.com.
Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now. I appreciate that. And I should probably apologize as my allergies are kicking and I might sound like I have a cold. I don't. I'm completely fine. It's just my allergies. And that is a great way to support what I do, guys. lutfstudio.com. lutfstudio.com. I would say I have a decent inventory right now. But if you come across something that you do like, but you don't like the color, you can write me and say, hey, I want this cross or this necklace or this earring or plate, bowl, whatever it is. I want it in this color, and I will gladly make it for you. We will be expanding our inventory sometimes very soon. Might be at the other side, 2026. The new products will not be my creation. They are creation of another artist that I've known for a while, and I really enjoy the creation. They are wood-based pieces. I posted one of the products on my Facebook and Substack, and I said, it's not listed yet, but if you like to make an offer on it, you're more than welcome to do so. But I just wanted to say that we are adding some new art pieces, handmade also, to the store soon. But in the meantime, head over to lutfstudio.com. That's lutfstudio.com, and support what I do by making a purchase. Use promo code MISSION for 10% off. Barnabas says, been to South Sudan. People do suffer a lot there. Yes, but that's the thing. Even with Sudan, it took so long for Western countries and Western media to even touch it. As I said, we hear about Sudan because it's been an ongoing battle and suffering for people for so long. It became impossible for Western governments and Western media to avoid talking about it, to looking the other way, to being quiet about it. But when you think about it, you don't do anything about it either. Like every administration is head over heels running. Woo! Let's get some sort of ceasefire or peace deal of Israel and Gaza, but Nigeria and Sudan, let it be. They'll figure it themselves. Well, welcome to Live Up to Freedom Land, Rick. Rick is the first time it's their first time watching the show, and they're excited to see the show. And I am excited to see you in the comment section on Substack. Welcome aboard. Elizabeth on Substack says, Annie, thank you for all you do to help us stay informed. Your courage, wisdom, and knowledge is much appreciated. Love your artistic talent as well. Very gifted. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. I appreciate you. And I always appreciate all of your words of encouragement like these, your support and your love. I appreciate it. Okay, let's head over to Facebook and YouTube real quick. Hi, Paymon John. It's good to see you. Tammy says, what does that mean for US? I think I kind of covered it. I will get into a little bit more detail on that as well. Judy says, happy birthday, Inez. I am so blessed you were born. Hallelujah. I appreciate that. Hallelujah. I do feel blessed. I feel very privileged that Lord decided that I should join this earth and be part of his creation. That is definitely a blessing. Thank you, Pamela John, for the birthday wishes. Tammy says, aren't the borders safe? Okay, so I'm guessing you talk about the American border when I said they're going to start coming in. Yes, our borders are somewhat closed, but the Benin asylum seekers are not going to try to come over illegally. They're going to actually, remember, whenever there's a coup, there's a war, there's a civil war, Western countries, including America, we just automatically, because we're part of UN, we automatically become obligated to accept some of them, right? This is how diversity in America has taken over. When you look at it, a lot of people, even including, when you think about it, going back to 1979, between 79, from February of 79, when the revolution was completed in Iran, until 1983, 4 years, right? Right or wrong, a lot of Iranians were accepted through proper channels. They were accepted in America. Some of the students who were here, they changed their student visa to permanent asylum because of the revolution, because of what happened when the regime started killing members of the previous government. A lot of people came in and America accepted them. Many of them didn't, there was no way because of the revolution, which was in a way of its own coup. There was no way for them to, I would come in 81 and say, hey, I worked for Shah of Iran and they want me dead now. How was US to know if that's true or not? They would just accept me. Many were true. Many cases were true, but point is, when situations like this happen, it becomes very hard. And because of the obligation of accepting refugees from areas of war, as I said, or execution or persecution, a lot of rules are pushed aside. Though our borders are much safer today, but our obligation under our contract with UN worldwide is where the risk can start. We will not have a way of confirming anyone coming from Benin claiming anything. As I said, they just overthrow their government. And a military government is not a real government. As I said, no diplomacy, no relationships, no database, nothing. So it comes down to, again, our ICE agents who receive these paperwork or these requests from UN especially, they're going to have to somehow take a guess, trust their gut feeling, accept or not accept. These are the games that I don't like. These are, I'm like, oh, great. Again, we don't know. And on the other hand, I also don't like it because maybe somebody's genuinely in danger and they are coming here to be like me in the future, but we might reject their application because there is no way of confirming it. That's the other sad side of things too. Both scenarios are sad and dangerous, either for us or for them. So to answer your question of are the borders safe, there you go. Oh, hi, Grace. I am so glad you're here. And again, thank you. And thanks, Sean, for the gifts. I received them and very helpful. I don't know how you got to pick the items that I was actually hoping somebody would buy. Thank you. I appreciate it. They are here by the millions. They already call for jihad here. Yes, they are. That's something I'm going to talk about in a minute, or probably next segment. But that is the concern. That is the problem. Between making mistakes, between having Democrat governments, opening the floodgates, between Biden flying them in on, they come on in 88,000 plus. You all helped our military. I don't even know, how did 88,000 Afghans help our military? That would have been a military of its own. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. Maybe I do in a bit. Point is, yes. If you recall, a few weeks ago, I made a post. Some were upset about it. Some called me a bad Christian about it. But I said we do need to temporarily, for the next 5 years, we need to cap our acceptance of refugees to 0 until we clean house. And I'm still with that. And I still agree with that. Now, there might be special circumstances. Okay, fine. 1 to, 20. But in general, I agree. Over the last 20 years, over the last 25 years, there has been way too many mistakes made, way too many by design loopholes in our system, immigration system. Illegals aside, we have issue with the legal ones. Let me share something with you. Early last week, when Trump administration announced that they are putting hold on all applications from third world countries, narrowed it down more into Afghanistan, and then they said the 19 countries that are on the travel ban, and they will also start reviewing those in process. They're going to review those who have acceptance or approval. They're going to even review some of the green card holders. I can't tell you how many of Iranian people in America would reach out to me. A lot of them completely panicked, a lot of them angry, and I had to explain because terminologies are, different. Well, we all know President Trump tends to not watch what he says when he says how he says it. He just blurb things out. And I didn't blame any of these Iranians who contacted me. I'm like, listen, I completely understand your concern, but he comes out and say, I'm going to put a ban on this. I'm going to revoke everybody's green card. That is not what the process is. I walk them through. I send them links to go read the process. But I did also tell them this is for our own good. I had one of them hang up on me because she thought I am being ridiculous and I should not cheer this idea and I am a traitor and this and that. I don't blame that person either. I understand the panic is there. There's always that underlying, hey, listen, I have said it on camera a few times that I'm a natural citizen. One of these administrations can come up with a way to denaturalize me and then deport me. I hold an I-94. If you look up I-94 visa, I-94 is asylum seeker visa, meaning there's attachment to the visa that will permanently avoid deportation of that individual, even if she ends up committing federal crime. Because she has proven, my case, that if she's ever deported to her birthplace, her life will be in danger, right? I have I-94. Though that is the regulation of I-94, I still have this thing of which administration's gonna finally say even I-94 revoke. So I understand the underlying concern, and I understand those who contacted me, those who took to social media panicking. Now, I'm a national citizen. A lot of them aren't. I had someone contacting me who's a green card, got their green card through marriage, genuine marriage. They met somewhere 11 years ago. They were together for like 2 years, and then they got married. The spouse has been in America for over 50 years. It's a legit case. But this person still panics and call me. Are they going to revoke my green card? I'm like, no. Why would they? They're like, I don't know. They just said we're reviewing and we're revoking Iranian green cards. I'm like, don't listen to what Trump says. That's not what they're doing. I am glad they're going even as deep as looking into green cards. If your case is legit, if you've been in America, if you haven't committed a crime, if you have followed the law, if you paid your taxes, they have no grounds. Forget about reason. Because, you know, some of the people are like, at this point, Trump just hates Iranians. I'm like, no, he doesn't. I know it seems like it, but he doesn't. And even if he does, this is America. Though things look very scary, there still has to be grounds. Not, I feel like it. There has to be grounds. When it comes to immigration, there has to be, beyond reasonable doubt, they have to prove that you either committed immigration fraud by lying your application, or when you were in America before becoming a citizen, you committed something, you didn't tell them. There has to be legal process, otherwise they can't. Actually, it's easier to lose your naturalized citizenship than it is of your green card or your asylum paperwork. Guys, how about this? Let's take our last ad break, and then I will conclude and check on the comment sections before we wrap the last segment. We'll be right back.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.
Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now. I greatly appreciate you being here, and I hope you have shared this stream on whatever platform you're watching. If you haven't, it's okay. You can share it now. Okay, let me conclude on what I was explaining to the Iranians. Rightfully so, they're upset, they're panicking, but I had to translate what Trump said no. But I am happy they're doing this. Somebody had to do it. And I wouldn't stop at the 19 countries Trump chose to put on a ban back in April of 2025. No, I would expand that even to our greatest allies like Syria, Turkey, and Qatar, Saudi Arabia. That's it. At some point, the bridge collapsed, right? And you can't put this bridge back together sturdy and reliable unless every single part is built back up. And that's why I said for 5 years, in my understanding, with our resources, with the technology involved, my understanding of immigration process, paperwork, all of that, it's going to take a solid 5 years for our immigration to sort through all of those cracks that created the collapse of the bridge. 5 years. In meantime, no more application even accepted. We won't even accept applications unless it is under special circumstances, which now we come back to Benin. Benin will apply to special circumstances. And that is where we're like, okay, great. How do we sort that out? How many of them is Europe going to take? Canada going to take? How many we're going to be forced to take? That is my conflict. That is my concern. And I know good people are going to suffer. Trust me, I know. Zelda, my lovely Zelda on Substack, replied to my Substack today, and she actually said that she does remember in the early 80s when the population of Christians in Africa Now I believe she narrowed it down. Let me, I don't want to misquote her here. I think she narrowed it down exactly to Benin, Niger, and Burkina Faso that had a very decent Christian population, no longer. And I know the very first people in Benin that are gonna face persecution and suffering are gonna be the Christians. I will admit, as of right now, as I speak to you, I haven't finished digging into information of what the percentage, I said 12 to 14%, 14 million population. I haven't looked into the percentage of Christians versus not Christians. I would think if I was a Christian in Benin after 2023, when I started watching, I would leave. Because it was too obvious. It's just a matter of time until they take Benin too. But I don't know if they did. I don't know if they could. Bottom line is, I know people are going to suffer, and it breaks my heart. And I have already, starting yesterday, started praying for people of Benin. But it is another layer of risk for our national security with these special circumstances that are going to start. Now, of course, there are always great people out there who challenge me. And somebody actually commented, well, don't get ahead of yourself. Maybe this military coup works out. I'll pray for that too. But again, I think I concluded on my Substack by saying if history is of any guide, the pattern is way too clear. I will pray that this military coup works, but I am not going to hold on to false hope and stay in denial, look the other way, take my eyes off of Benin, because, well, I shouldn't be so negative. This one time, this tiny military in this tiny country, completely locked between two conquered countries, somehow is going to do better than the existing government they just toppled. I don't know. Logically, doesn't make sense to me. That is not a path I would go for. I hope you're right. I hope this one coup is going to change history. It's going to make history and be that one coup that not only saved the people of Benin, but hey, they might go and take back the other countries too. But the reality in front of us right now, the domino effect, says otherwise. And when that otherwise happens, we need to be aware in America. So if you suddenly hear on your news or your social media or from government or on White House website, you start hearing about a special circumstances and new applications from Benin, at least you know where it is. You know where it all started. You know how we got here. And you be aware that, oh, we're not going to have a solid screening way. We just don't. We don't have a way. This one, I cannot blame our government, their people. It's just, when things like this happen, it happens. Now, if he would have walked away from UN, which Trump has repeatedly said but hasn't done it, we would be under very different circumstances where we could have the ability to say, there is this immigrant herself, now a proud citizen. She got a great idea. We're going to put the cap on immigration to 0 for 5 years, and we're going to fix this broken system. But we don't have that option today because of the agreement with the UN, obligations to the UN, and the circumstances that might be upcoming here in Benin. Do we have, as a country, to say we're not accepting any more applications? Yes. But the moment the special circumstances happens, we cannot not accept applications or asylums for that matter. Not only we have to accept all the applications, and we have to accept a certain percentage of those applications, either we like it or not. This is what happened with Somalia, what happened with Iraq, what happened with Afghanistan. This is what happened in 79 to 83 with Iran. It's just the way it has been working. And as long as we do not walk away from UN, I said all of that to get here. As long as we do not walk away from UN, we will have this twist of arm. And we all know these special circumstances happens repeatedly because we don't fight jihad, we don't fight Islamization. So that's another Substack I put out last week if you're interested in reading, where I talked about the caliphate the West keeping alive, where we pretend to fight, but then we enable them non-stop financially, by prestige, by credibility, by acknowledging them as governments, on and on and on. So again, I pray that I am absolutely off, and I pray this is where we're going to see history, but I figured this is something I'm almost sure nobody would talk to you about. I figured that's a good thing to come on air and talk about today. And also wanted to, as I said, personally on air thank every single one of you for your beautiful messages, your words of encouragement, your gifts, your donations. They all made my day very, very special. Let me glance at all the comment sections to make sure I don't. Yes, Blur. Yes, we do need to shut the door and clean house, but as I said, and that's the thing, favoritism, right? I get the whole diplomacy. I don't actually, but we're going to pretend like I get the diplomacy. But to lift Syria from the travel ban list just because we decided someone is a good-looking guy in a suit is a very dangerous move. Very dangerous move. But he's done it. And when it comes to this recent, sudden, and again, some people are panicking, like Iranians. Some people are celebrating. Look, he's finally doing it. Yes, but again, even he's doing it incomplete. There is no favoring. If you're going to dig and review all applications, in-process application, approved application, all the way up to green card holders, it has to be every country with history and involvement with Islamism. All of them. Doesn't matter which one is your buddy. Doesn't matter which one invited you as a main speaker at their weekend event in Qatar. It doesn't matter which one's buying more weapons from you. That's the glitch. That's the problem. Every single administration has their bias when it comes to Gulf money and the ties to other countries through Gulf money. So unfortunately, this is a good start. I am not undermining the start. But unfortunately, as long as we are going we're going through this clean house with bias, it reminds me of, I don't know if you have a family member like that, but I did have a family member who was, they would be like, okay, that's it. This time I'm going to clear out my storage. Well, I should say basement here. Say it's not a basement. Anyways, the space, come help. And then every time we pick something, they're like, oh no, that is from my great uncle. I'm keeping that one. You would end of the day, nothing was cleared out because they kept holding on to something because it was important to them. We have the same problem with our immigration. Every administration has ties of, I can't touch that country. Well, we can't deport that group of people. But it's constantly repeat of the same issue. As long as we do it that way, we're not going to have clean house. The UN needs to be kicked out completely of New York City and make it housing for homeless veterans. Amen. Christopher, 100% agreed. I have said that many times. Not only UN needs to be kicked out of New York City, but we need to walk away from UN 100% and completely. I mean, there is no one that even for a second believes that UN is still carrying a mission they started 81 years ago. No way. Some people might pretend like they believe that, but everyone, especially in our government, they are very, very, again, another one of those things that Trump ran on as a platform, but, well, hasn't delivered. We'll walk away from UN. When? Let's do it. But hopefully they will. I don't know. Hopefully we walk away from UN and the bias will be put aside. The beautiful part is we all are aware there is a solution to the problem. And as I said on one of my posts recently, it's like now the highlight is on Afghans and Somalians. We don't have a specific nation issue in America. We have an Islamization problem, and that Islamization has furthered its agenda dramatically through Hijra, immigration jihad, and civilization jihad, and it is greatly helpful if we could reverse that damage, not by targeting certain countries, but by targeting a specific people who are following this ideology that is creating the problems for those of us here who don't follow that ideology. In my head, again, pretty simple solution, very doable. I'm not the president. I don't have the pen nor the authority. So I can offer the solution, but I cannot make them do the solution, unfortunately. But I'll do my best. Let's pray that somehow, somewhere, Lord will guide President Trump and our immigration to lift the bias and start looking for the right group of people instead of targeting certain countries. Okay, that was it for me today. I will be joining Brennan House tonight. We're going to talk about the weekend event that took place in Qatar with Tucker Carlson, President Trump, Clintons, and all that good stuff. I figured I wanted to spend the time on Benin and what we're facing on my show, since I'm going to be on Brennan to talk about that. So I'm sure you're going to tune in tonight to Brennan House Live to catch that information. Until tomorrow, stay safe, stay vigilant. And again, thank you for all of your kind words, your messages, and your gifts for my birthday. I am so grateful to have every single one of you in my life, even if we have never met in person. I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye-bye.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work, try to see a doctor this week, or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is
Yeah, plenty to talk about today, no doubt about it. All right, well, let's start out before we go to Peter McIlvaine in Great Britain. Let's go to our buddy Bill Federer. We were going to be joined by his son, but I think now that's not going to happen. So we just got Bill. So we'll have to just settle for you, Bill. Bill, welcome back. Glad you're with us.
Hey, great to be with you, Brandon.
Great to have you with us. All right. Hey, do you know that the clip that we did the other day on Islam has now had well over 1 million views?